focusing on. You see the scores above me. We have Reality Island over Sporting Ball 19-12. So we're watching a little bit of reality TV.
I feel like this Fixer Upper show, and they have Al's picture of what your house is going to look like after it's redone. It's just it's too well lit. I don't know. You know what I like? I like Michael Corleone's place in Lake Tahoe and Godfather 2. That's the lighting I like. I like dark colors. I want there to be like some intense kind of wood, in your living room.
Some big wood.
Like, I mean, not even that. I don't want blonde wood. I want dark wood, Look at this. This is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. There we go.
That's pretty sick. I mean, a lot of these things, this isn't like story. Like, there is the lame story, but a lot of that shit's made up and embellished. They just want a free house.
Oh, yeah. Maine Cabinet Masters.
Fuck, is Texas Metal get some cars going?
It's interesting.
This gooseneck hitch is going to bring even more show to the toad.
Dude, these are the coolest hillbillies because, like, they're not racist. They have their shit is tolerable. These are your conspiracy theorists. They're going to talk about how 9/11 was an inside job. I can deal with that.
I actually, in my view, a lot of you get out into rural America. I mean, there's some there's some decent people out there. I will also say this much: there is some real ignorance, like real ignorance. And it's just
So since reality has the lead here, let's hit a little sporting ball.
Okay.
See if we can get a little catch up here.
Let's see that. Okay. So this is the first matchup we're looking at right now.
Yeah. Reality versus sporting. Ooh, we got some college b-ball.
I've been watching a little basketball. Because I've been playing, as you know. And, it's, again, you can tell, it's women's basketball.
Okay.
You can tell how the 3.5 minutes, come on.
Look at that broad.
On the left.
Sloan Martin.
Incredible talent so far. A lot of threes so far in this
The
tournament.
voice is exactly what I expected.
Exactly. Double-digit seats. Oh, no question.
Now, when you think, I'm not trying to be, when the right thinks of trans, that is what they have in their head.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to come out and bring that energy, effort, and focus every single possession.
Illinois has overcome.
You know what, though? That broad Sloan, this bitch will kink your crank, probably.
No, I think
bumps
that she
fucking rugs.
Yeah, she bumps donuts. There's no doubt about it. She's a certified girl kisser.
My name is Sloan Martin, and I'm going to treat Diana here like a bowling ball in between commercials.
Listen. If your name
Let's
is
give Sloan a goal.
Come on, Sloan. That's
Sloan's
your name.
A goal.
Yeah, she's gay.
Sloan just scored, baby, 19-13.
Look at this.
Genesis Bryant.
I like that name. I knew a guy named Genesis. Yeah. I did in the mid-'80s. He was a African-American man.
She's the EI.
Attack mode mentality.
Exactly. God.
Let's give a goal for DEI.
Yeah. I'm going to go on my soapbox for a little bit, okay? And I'm not going to go too far on the rabbit hole. Big thing Trump is doing right now, as everyone is aware, is they're taking a chainsaw or a hatchet to the federal government workforce.
I need that as a drum.
Yeah, so they're doing that. The fact is, and I guess that they're planning on 76,000 more cuts at the VA. Boy, that's a pretty big cut. 76,000 at the VA. So my attitude towards that is, Clinton, when Clinton was president, dude, he laid out 420,000 federal workers when Clinton was, and I talk about Clinton in glowing terms all the time.
Clinton's my guy. I was thinking today him and FDR have to be the best presidents because Trump was saying he's the best president of all time since George Washington. First of all, George Washington is one of the worst presidents we've ever had.
By the way, George Washington embezzled millions of dollars.
The reason they came up with terms is because they thought he was never going to stop being president.
So yeah,
so I was thinking, I was like, if you really boiled it down, aside from Lincoln and a few other like early before they were like super racist Republicans, all of the best presidents are Democrats.
Oh, wait, the 20th century? Well, yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, the best two have to be Clinton and FDR tied.
Yeah.
1 and 1A.
Well, people say best.
Besides,
I don't put it in those terms. For me,
effective.
Or I just say impactful. Like who had the biggest impact? And in the 20th century, I've said this before, second largest impact was Ronald Reagan, I would argue. Because basically what we're dealing with now is the bastardization of Reagan. It's the sales pitch Reagan really perfected that then Trump has turned into this weird level. But anyway, but FDR was the most important president of the 20th century. The modern world was formed when he was president. It just was. The world was a different place after he was president, just because of the Second World War, the United States being thrust into the dominant country.
Ooh, look at that shape.
We're truly
Coach
entering.
has a thick ass. I love that.
We're truly entering. They're trying to pivot the country in a pretty dramatic way. We'll see if they're able to do that, but they certainly have in many ways. There's no doubt about it.
I think we're starting to get into these conference tournaments.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be next weekend. I know the Big Ten's next weekend.
March is madnessing.
I was thinking about going to Vegas.
June madness now, though. It goes deep. It needs to be exactly from March 1st to March 31st. Nothing before, nothing after. There's no God.
Norfolk State. This is a DEI. This is a DEI
Oh, this
matchup.
is DEI. They get government money.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I mean, and look at they're just taking things. Look, I mean, it's just to pin it on
Can't
them.
even have multiple. Look at all the lines on that court.
You know, it's just how they're playing in Howard. They're
Having a field house where they play multiple major sports is so DEI.
I know. I mean, listen, you know, it's because they play volleyball there and other things. You know what I mean? It's like it's not just basketball because they don't have a lot of money.
Look at everyone with their Juju top buns copying.
And-
I love an arena where you hear the echo.
Oh yeah, yes. Do you know what I feel like? A good Cal State Northridge game is going to hear a lot of echo in the background. These Cal State schools here, some of them are hilarious, man. Irvine's actually big, but like I think of like Cal State Fullerton. They're great in baseball, but them as like a football program or a basketball program, there's some goofy schools out here. Pacific. That's one of the schools out. They're actually okay. You know, went to Pacific? The Candy Man, Michael Olowokandi. Remember him? Michael Olowokandi.
Oh yeah, he's a big bust.
Yeah, he was first overall pick.
Big old bust.
Look at that state. Well, Howard is the Harvard of that's where
it's a good school.
That's where Thurgood Marshall went to college.
That's a fucking massive bush. The hair.
Oh yeah, I was going to say. I was like, wow, what did you see? There you go. But yeah, no, this is the Bison, the Howard Bison, Norfolk. Who went to Norfolk State in the men's program? Bobby Dandridge, former player for the Washington Bullets in the late 70s, and also for the Milwaukee Bucks when they won the 71 championship. Bobby Dandridge was their third player, and when the Bullets won it in 78, Bobby Dandridge, graduate of Norfolk State. Norfolk State. Who also went to Norfolk State? I believe. I
keep wanting to say your mom.
No. Ricky Mahorn. He either went there or Hampton. You remember Ricky Mahorn, right? I mean,
I've heard the name, but I don't really remember him.
He played for the Pistons. Oh, he was an enforcer. He was Ricky Mahorn. You did not want to get into a fight with Ricky Mahorn.
Horn is in his name, so I assume he's fucking laying some kind of elbow in there. He at least had pointy elbows of some kind. You know what I'm saying?
He played. I think he played for that first Pistons team that won a championship in '89.
Howard has ugly ass uniforms.
You know, that's where Kamala Harris went to Howard. She was in a sorority in the '80s in Howard. It's weird when people your age are like becoming presidential material. It's odd.
We'll hit a little sporting ball here. Do you want to?
Sure.
Dude, Colin was jizzing his pants over the Bears yesterday. I was loving it.
That's rare. What was he saying?
Because they're building out the interior of their line. It's making his dick hard.
Oh, didn't they trade for a guy
for Joe Tooney, and then they got the Rams guy?
Oh yeah.
So they got Jonah Jackson from the Rams. He used to be with Ben Johnson in Detroit.
Oh, in Detroit, yeah.
And then the Rams picked him up, and they needed to unload some cap space. Which usually that's when you can see where people are going in the draft or in free agency when they start unloading money places.
Yeah.
So this is Colin jizzing his pants over offensive lines in general, and just
Come on now, what are you watching the games? So this is a big deal. So sometimes I get on tangents. And I'm not talking for a show.
Is he going to puke during this episode?
Yeah, right. I think J-Mac today on today's episode, he made fun of him a little bit about that.
There we go. Is this recorded like down the street from us right now? Is this here in LA?
No, this is like Westwood. I think they do it in Westwood Studios.
Okay, so they do it in the West Side. Yeah.
Talking for 6 years. I have been on a tangent for about 6 years.
He's such a
And I know
blowhard.
it's irritating. But offensive
When you get a hesitation
Yeah.
before speech, he's about to compliment you.
lines are really important. The final 4 teams this year in the NFL all had top 10 offensive lines.
Absolutely.
I mean, that looks like a guy. Like you just
Tooney?
look at the silhouette of Tooney.
Oh
that
yeah,
looks
yeah.
like a man.
Oh no. He's a D. Is he either one guard or is he a? Was he a tackle or a
He
guard?
played tackle, but he is a guard.
Oh, he had to play tackle because they needed
and
him.
he excelled.
Oh, dude, because their tackles suck. They lost him. Well, they made the choice. We're going with Trey Smith and not you. Wow. Okay. But this draft, by the way, all the positions the Vikings need, and I think also the Bears, are all deep in this
According
draft.
to our guy Colin, it's a draft full of second-round picks.
Yeah, but there's no great players, but there's good depth guys in the offensive
You can
and
get a
defensive
fourth-round
line.
guy in this draft.
And who's like decent and can play some. Running back, offensive line, and D line, and then defensive back are all the positions that are deep, which I'm actually very happy about that. It's all the more reason the Vikings should trade back. They should trade back from their first-round pick and actually get a second, a fourth, and a
So
sixth.
fucking deep. You hear they're working out a little extension with Darnaldi?
Yeah. The
Smoke screen.
Yeah, that is weak traction.
Although it
It's
would be a good thing if you guys could offload Daniel Jones.
I'd actually want him to
for
keep
some
Daniel
picks.
Jones. I no, they can't. He's a free agent. They got to sign him. They're going to sign Daniel
The
Jones.
top
Sure.
7 graded offensive lines in the NFL this year all made the playoffs.
Yeah.
7 for 7.
Yeah.
All made the playoffs.
Note the absence of a certain team in the best offensive
Yeah, but they
lines.
didn't have the worst offensive line.
Their
He
offensive
bags on the
line.
Bengals here because
Boo.
Burrow had the worst offensive line.
Because they had to make that choice. They had to pay Burrow fucking $58 million a year, and they can't sign
You know
other
they
players.
had to get a naming rights deal for the stadium to pay for that contract.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Well, that's also, something that Bengals, the fact is,
Oh, they're so poor.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I heard, by the way? And because you always say this, the McCaskies throw around whatever like manhole covers. I guess that's kind of a myth. Like Dan Bernstein was like, in recent memory, they are not cheap. He was
Yeah.
like, they make the wrong moves.
yeah. But they lose big. They make a big
Like he said, he was like, John Fox wasn't cheap.
yeah.
Matt Nagy wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Like $13 million a year because that's what they're giving Ben Johnson. Like that's just what smart people get now.
They seem to make bad decisions. Like they, as an organization,
Well, now it's fixed because listen to my guy.
The Chicago Bears had a defensive coach, and the offensive line kept getting worse.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson gets hired by the Bears.
Look at that
And I know
smile in the
last year the
corner.
Bears were doing stuff with wide receivers and front page of the Chicago Tribune.
Look at those teeth.
It was on all the websites. Receiver. This year, Ben Johnson, offensive coach, first 2 big moves. 2 days ago,
I'm glad to have the offensive coach on my team finally.
guard.
Well, no, he's
Rams.
right. These are
Yes.
actually, that guy Jackson's a good.
It's
listen,
good.
those are 2 starters right there. Like, they're starters, and if that guy Wright can play, what you have to do too with with the offensive line, when guys are next to each other and they're good, they feed off each other. You know what I mean? Like it's a really they need each other. A
They
good
get off
guard and a
on
good
it.
tackle. So that guy Wright has to develop. He's their left tackle, right, or is he their right tackle? So they need him to develop. No, I listen, man. This was a smart move.
They also picked up a tight end from the Dolphins today.
Oh, okay. Like a blocking guy.
Yeah, they picked the guy up.
Because the Queens, man, the middle of their line, below, it's so bad. The middle of the Vikings offensive line is so bad. But yeah, let's watch more of this.
Draft looks like a mess. The Velus Jones pick at receiver years ago turned my stomach. Bottom line is, great move. And by the way, Jim Harbaugh last year. Everybody was like, oh, they lost Keenan Allen. Mike Williams got a receiver. What did Jim Harbaugh do? Joe Alt.
Praised Christ.
Tackle. Was great. What did Sean?
Voted for Trump.
First thing he did.
Yeah, he's
Denied COVID.
Wilson, who we didn't love. He rebuilt the O-line.
Well,
No.
yeah.
Read the Bible.
Takes over the Rams.
Called it the Kung
First-
Flu. Remember that one? I got to admit, I was like, wow, you are fucking going deep on
Chop
that one.
Fluey.
Protection and push up front.
Yeah.
This
No,
is
it's-
a great day to be a Bear fan.
Yeah.
I know it's not sexy.
A fucking offensive lineman. You dare me, Colin? I'll grab Joe Tooney's ass tomorrow.
They got to build for Williams, man. They got to surround him with infrastructure.
He's got enough sexy for everybody.
But the point is, they need to look at this. That was weird too. Like, what are those two offensive linemen letting the Viking guy go? Like, what are you? That's Gennard, who's their best. They just let him go. I tell you what, watching him play some this year against the Vikings, he does hold on to the ball too long. He's got to get rid of it.
Oh, 100%.
But he's young. He's young.
I got some asshole in the comments yesterday.
Ooh.
Because, I guess he's not an asshole. But so Eric Mangini made a mention of like horrible stats. Caleb had horrible stats. And I just made a comment. I go, he literally had the same stats as Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Like, what horrible stats?
Yeah.
And then someone was like, what about the 5 wins and the 2.9 second release time? It was bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Those are the worst stats. And I go, I was like, getting the ball out quick is literally not a stat.
Yeah.
Like, and then he goes, this is why I don't talk football with people on YouTube. You obviously know nothing about the game of football. He threw the game of football at me. His release time was 2.9 seconds. It was 29th in the league. That's bottom. Blah, you know nothing. And I go, you literally have no profile picture. You have an 89 in your name. You're not even the best your name. I was like, I'm sure you're a big analyst. And then I go, I'm sure that's why they gave Josh Allen the MVP, because he gets the ball out quick.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good thing to have, but you can still win if you don't do it. It's not like it's an indicator, you know.
And then I go, also, you're wrong. I looked it up. The average release time for a quarterback in 2022 was 3.24 seconds.
Wow.
I was like, so how could Caleb's 2.9 be the worst if 3.24 is the average?
Yeah, 3 years ago, whatever. It's changed. No,
this was 2024. This was last year's release time.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
the average quarterback had a 3.24 second release time.
Yeah. Well, Darnold held on for 4 seconds sometimes, 5 seconds.
He could be a 4.
Like, if you have a good offensive line, you can hold on to the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
It's holding on to the ball and in dangerous situations.
Yeah.
With the staff.
I will say there is this much too, and I feel like Brady was really good at this. Brady would just dirt the ball sometimes, which I mean, just dirt it. You know what I mean? The play is not going to work.
Let's move on to the next matchup here.
Yeah.